Hello and welcome back to the France 24 newsroom. It's time now for a look at what's making this Friday's French front pages with our press reviewer Caterina Bertozzi. Caterina, thank you for joining us. Syria then, never far away from the front pages here in France, but we are still seeing fallout from those comments made earlier this week by former President Nicolas Sarkozy.
Oh yes, definitely the former president. That's why they've made such a furore here in France. Let me just recap. On Tuesday night, Nicolas Sarkozy released a public statement saying that the international community needed to do more in Syria, needed to be more intervention there. He likened the situation to Libya, suggesting, oh, look what I did in Libya when he led that NATO intervention there. Now, yesterday we saw the reaction to those comments by the French government, particularly the French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius. What we're seeing today in Le Figaro is the reaction to that reaction. This time it's from Jean-François Copé, the Secretary General of the UMP party. Le Figaro says he even came back from holiday to make these statements, and that is something that he actually points to in their exclusive interview with him inside the paper. He says, you know, President Hollande here is entirely absent, both sort of physically in terms that he's currently on holiday, and sort of politically in that there's just no sense of France either leading the way or having any real solutions to the intervention and sort of diplomacy that the international community should take in Syria. So he also specifically said, when asked, do you think Nicolas Sarkozy was right to intervene? He said, yes, he was right, then didn't sort of say why he was right or why the former president sort of should have this say-so. But he says, yes, more needs. Jean-François Copé called for a quick foreign diplomatic intervention, but said he sensed that the French public probably didn't want a military intervention. Now, it is worth noting, as I'm sure you know, that Copé is currently running or putting his name in the hat to be sort of the leader of the UMP party. So is this politicking? Is this just, you know, him kind of wanting to be shown taking an authoritarian stand? Well, yes, according to Le Monde, who say there needs to be more of a debate about Syria, less of a debate about the debate itself. They're saying that Nicolas Sarkozy's comments were rather clumsy, but at the same time that they say that the French government doesn't really have any ideas itself. So what it's saying is, come on, let's really have an accord, let's get together and really come up with some ideas for Syria itself, rather than just carrying on with this back and forth again, as we've seen.
Okay. Well, moving on to economic news, that's also making the headlines this Friday as well.
Yes, absolutely. This is in Libération. Le Sage, that's the top French court, the Constitutional Council, are making it easier for François Hollande, the president, to move towards this règle d'or. This is a golden rule. Essentially, this golden rule is something that has been discussed a lot by the European Union. It would make it legally binding for France to have to balance its budgets. So the court's ruling essentially is saying that they wouldn't have to change, there wouldn't have to be a law change, there wouldn't have to be any vote to make a law change to bring in this golden rule. And now La Libération points that this is great news for Hollande, because in fact within the Socialist Party itself, this has been rather a divisive issue, because essentially it would mean that there would have to be austerity measures, perhaps some budget cuts. The paper talked to one socialist MP who said he was rather suspicious of it himself. So this is just making it a little bit easier for François Hollande to perhaps implement that golden rule.
Okay, and just finally, one of France's long-standing holiday traditions, le camping. Apparently that's booming in France.
Yes, absolutely. They said last year, 2011, €2 billion boost to the camping industry in France. This isn't just of a night under a bin bag, as I seem to remember my childhood camping holidays, but this is luxury camping, yurts, organic camping in vineyards, all this sort of stuff. A huge 8 million campers were in France last year, so it really is an industry that's booming.
Wow, well, I even did a bit of camping myself very recently in the Loire Valley, so I can recommend it. Thanks very much indeed, Caterina, for that look at today's French papers. That's it from the newsroom for now. Thanks for joining us, and do stay tuned to France 24.